Hello guys and girls, welcome to another exciting tutorial on building application using JavaFX and SceneBuilder. So in today's video, we are going to be building a simple to-do list application which would give you a very basic understanding of working with lists, adding, removing, and using a special list made specifically for JavaFX applications. So in this tutorial, you'll be able to add add a task and you'll be able to complete your task. You would be also able to delete your task as well. And that is just what we will be doing in this tutorial, right? So if you haven't come across my video before, don't forget to subscribe because I drop new programming tutorials every week, which I think would be helpful for new programmers. Okay, so let's get started. So firstly, we'll head over to our Eclipse IDE for writing our JavaFX code, and it takes time to load, and boom. So there's it. So now you see we have already configured our workspace to work with JavaFX, mm, JavaFX, like we have configured our workspace to work with JavaFX. So you can check out my first video to also configure your workspace, because in this tutorial we're going to only be working on building the app and just making basic settings. But if you need like the full tutorial on working on your workspace, it will be on my first video. So next I'm going to launch this one. This is my main workspace for all my JavaFX tutorials. Okay, so it took a little bit of time, and yeah, so let's start right away. So this video won't take time, just like a simple line of code, right? So this is the previous things we have created. We have created a simple calculator, a student information system, this one for integers and decimals, this one is for strings. And in today's tutorial we're going to be working on lists, JavaFX list. So we would go to file, so click on my file, new, file again, file, then new, then order, or you can just say Control N. So you click order, JavaFX project, and next. Okay, so what would be the project name? I'll just call it to do application. I'll just call it to do application. Yeah, so that's the project name. So I'll click on next and finish. So that is it. Don't open perspective, so I'll just click no, and we are going to be getting an error initially. So if I go to my source folder, firstly I have to delete this module info.java. It's not necessary, so I'll just delete it. Okay, so then, okay, yeah, then I'll go to my applications. We are still getting the errors, and I'll open my main.java, double click on it, and it opens the main.java with error on it. So I'll open my notes. So I have like a steps listed and the color theme we're going to be working with in this video. So we're going to be using like red for the delete button and green for the mark as complete button, and just the steps we're going to take, right? So we have like, after creating a new JavaFX project in workspace, steps that we're going to take, I'll put it in the description of this video. So let's just go right ahead. So the first thing we're going to do is, so we want to remove this error, right? I'll right click on my file to do application that we created now, the new JavaFX project we created now. Then I'll go to build parts and I'll say configure build part. Then I'll go to libraries. Yeah, under libraries, Java build parts. You see Java build parts under this G model IDSL, Java build parts. You go to class parts, you add library, user library, and JavaFX lib, the first folder we created in my first video when we were setting up our workspace. You can check it out. I'll be putting it in the description of this video as well. So I would mark this, I'll check this and click on finish. Then I'll apply and close. Then you see no more errors there again, right? So we're getting somewhere. So the next thing, if I run this application again as we do before, I'll say, okay, want to run it with the main. Okay, so it gives an error right here. It says JavaFX runtime components are missing and are required to run this application. So we have to import other components, right? So I'll go to my run, and I'll see run configurations. So I'll click on it and I'll go to my arguments, right? So we see what they're calling VM arguments. So we need something for it. I'll just go right to my notes so we can copy and paste what we need from it, right? So you can see under the steps we're going to take. Then under arguments tab in VM arguments box, add the following. So I'll just copy this, I'll copy it again. Okay. So then I would go back to my VM argument and I'll paste it. And you see this file path C, this is my C drive. Inside my C drive, I created a JavaFX folder where I stored all my external libraries, my jar, all my jars, my external libraries, right? So if you check my first video on setting up our JavaFX workspace, you understand why it's like this. I explained everything better there. So since this application is just like for building something simple, I would just move on. So I'll click on apply, then run, and then boom, this error is out, and then we have another error. So we go back to the run configurations, right? I'll go to the run configurations again and go to dependencies, not arguments. We are done with our arguments. Now we go to dependencies, right? So you see we have a JavaFX lib in our class path entry. So I'll click on it and I'm going to remove it from there. Then go to my module path entry, click on advanced, click on add library, okay, user library, and I'll click on this our folder and I'll click on finish. Now I'll say apply, then I'll say run, okay. Then we'll see a very small screen that is fun. Yeah, see the screen. So we just cancel this. We don't need it. We need to build with SceneBuilder, right? So I'll just cancel this and I'll just set something. I'll say primary stage. So we can name our stage something dot set title. So we are going to set the title to, I will set the title to my to do list. So you can add icons. If you add icons, icon equals new icon. You can call your icons, do anything with it, but we are just going to focus on building and also the functionality, right? So I will save this, and what else we need? We're going to create a new fxml document, right? So if I click on my, I'll right click on my applications and select new file, and I will say, yeah. So you can go like this. You can also do like order and click for new fxml document, right? But if I do it, it doesn't, I don't know, for some reasons it doesn't allow me to go next. So I'll just do it the old way. So I'll right click on my applications and click on new file. Then I'm going to name it to do dot fxml. So to do dot fxml, that's what I'm going to name it, right? So I'll click on finish, and these are our fxml documents. Also quickly, I'm going to create our controller, so it will be in our application for now. So I'll right click on it again and I'll say new, and I'll create a class, and I'm going to name the class to do controller. So this one would be where our functionality is, or the functionality of our application is, right? So I'll click on finish to finish this, and yeah, that's what we just need for this application. Now time to drag and drop and write exciting code. Then if I go to my todo.fxml, if I right click on it, you'll see open with SceneBuilder. So if you open with SceneBuilder, if you get an error, you can go to your Windows preferences and look for your JavaFX and make sure your SceneBuilder is like the part of the SceneBuilder is in the correct place. So you can browse it and find the location of your SceneBuilder and make sure it ends with .exe. Okay, so that's it. So I already have mine configured because of our workspace is already set up and good to go. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to right click on this and I'll say open with SceneBuilder. So it takes time. So this is our SceneBuilder. Why is it glowing like this? Okay, so this is our SceneBuilder. So I'm going to make this quick. I'm not going to be using any V pane or border pane or anything. So I'll also use like a normal anchor pane so we can move things around and focus more on the functionality. Okay, so I'll drag my anchor pane right here in the center, and that's it. So I'll just expand it to be big a little bit so it just looks like, very cool stuff. And so I'll just expand this one so we can expand everything and it will look nice. Then before we start, I'll change the background color to width. So fx.background color, so I'm going to change it to width. I just like the color, it looks professional, so I'll change it to width. You can use any color you like, I'm just doing it my way. Okay, so I'll change the background color to width. So that's it for our anchor pane. The next thing we're going to be dragging, we're going to drag and drop our label so we can use it like for the title, right? So I'm going to drag and drop this guy right here. Okay, so I will expand him. So you can design him anyhow you want. I'll just keep him here so it can have like enough spacing, right? So I'll expand this guy. I'll expand it again, and I think it's fine this way. So then for our text, I'm going to change it to my to-do list like this and like this. Then our fonts, our normal fonts, I'm going to change it to Georgia because I like the fonts. And I'll go for my text, I'm going to change it to like 24 so it will look big. Yeah, and it's the main goal for our app. Then for our text fill, for our text coloring, I'll go to my notes and I'll copy our dark red color and then go paste it right there. And we'll use the color as dark red. I'll just paste it like this and I'll click on enter. So that's it. I think that's what we're going to be needing for this one. Or let's just add like a font weight. So I'm going to click on FX fonts weight. So I'll make the font weight 800 so it will be bold like this. Cool, right? So the next one I'm going to be doing is I've made the font width 800 and which other thing. I think it's good like this. Let's move to the next thing. So the next one we're going to be dragging would be a list view so we can display our fxml, and the styling for this one we'll have to like put extra styling to this one. So I'm going to drag our list view and I'm going to drop it somewhere around. Let me bring it a little bit up like this. So I'll leave it like this. I think I should bring this guy down a little bit. Okay, so this font. So initially it's white, but we're going to add like lots of colors and stylings to it. So you can do it any way you want, but I'm going to style it because I like styling. So I would increase this list view a little bit so it looks professional, right? So I would leave it like this. So the next thing I'm going to do, okay, fixed cell size is -1. That's good. Everything is checked initially. That's good. So we are going to go for like styling. We have a lot of styling to do. So for my FX background color, I'm going to choose like background color and I'm going to change it to #33333. Enter. So it's like dark. You can use double three, anything you want to do, right? So the next thing I will do FX border color, and the border color will be, I'll just call it transparent or something. Transparent like this. So the border color will be transparent. Enter. Then the next one I'm going to be doing is most of the styling you're going to be seeing here. You won't be seeing it in the in the suggestion box like this for the label view, right? So I'll click on this inserts and I'll make it 0. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove all the padding as well. So the padding, I'll say padding, and I'll make it 0 as well, right? So I'm going to also change the inner background, because initially you understand what I'm saying when we start the program. So I would say fx control, so you won't see the prompts, you won't see the thing, the suggestion, but it's there. So our control inner background would be, I will just make it black, dark color as well. 1 2 3 4 5 6. So 3 3 3 3 3 3 6 times. So then I'm going to add also for the same thing. I'm going to add yeah, so I think that's it, inner background, and I'm going to add another slash fx, like no, fx control inner background alt. So this one is alt, and we'll make the color for the alt, I think, like a little bit of dark color, 404040. So a little bit of dark color. So we are going to make the text field fx slash, sorry, hyphen text field. So the text field would be white. We'll just call it normal white, right? I'm going to add another one, and I'll make it the font size. So the font size would be fx font size tab, and I'm going to make it 18 pixels. Yeah, 18 pixels, so it will be bold and big. So the next one we're going to do is font weight. I'm going to say fx font weight. So this one would be the, like, it takes a very long styling because I want to make it pretty. So the font weight would be 800. That is like bold, right? So the next one I'm going to be doing is focus color. So I'm going to do like something they're calling fx focus color, right? And I'm going to make it transparent as well. Transparent. You don't need to do all these stylings with me. You can just wait for the functionality, but I like making my styling very cool, right? So I'm going to make the font family, if I forget, the font family would be Georgia. So Georgia would be the font family, and I'll add another one. So I'll make the border width 0 as well. So fx border width would be 0. So what else? I'm going to make the focus color to be transparent, and even the faint focus color to be transparent as well. Let's make everything transparent. So I'll make the fx focus, not transversal, I need color to be transparent, and I'm going to make the faint color as well. So I'm going to say fx faint focus color to be also transparent. Okay, so this is all the styling we need for our border. Don't worry, don't just leave the, you won't be seeing any of the styling here. This is for the text and the lines that we're going to be using to make the list more cool and beautiful, right? So the next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be dragging and we're going to be dropping our text field, right? So I would go right here and I'll call the text field, and I'll drag and I'm going to drop it here. I'll say yeah, it's cool. Then I'm going to increase the length like this. So I'm going to increase the length of the text field, and let's style it a little bit. So the prompt text would be, let me say, enter a new task like this, and I'll do dot dot dot. So the user will say, okay, we need to enter a new task, right? So I'm going to make my font family to be Georgia, and my font size would be 14. Good, great. So the next thing we're going to be doing would be, should I increase the font weight? Let me just increase the font weight. So I'm going to make the fx font weight to be 800. Okay. What else? Nothing. I think it's good this way, right? So next thing we're going to do, we are going to need like 3 buttons, and that would be the end. So I will go to this one, and I'm going to call a button tag, button. So I will drag and drop my button right after my new task, and I will increase the button, the size of the button, right? And I'm going to increase the size up a little bit as well, just something like this. Okay, so the button is good, right? So the next thing we're going to be doing is I'm going to change the text of the button, and I'm going to call it add task. Add task. I'll change the font family to Georgia font. Then I'm going to change the font size to like 14 as well, so it will look visible, right? So the text fill, I'll change it to white. You can use like 6F for this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Enter to white, right? So the next thing I'm going to do is I'll change the color, the background color of the button. So I'll go to my styling, JavaFX styling, and I'll choose background color. I'll change it to this color. I'm going to use this. Okay, so this is the color we're going to be using. So the next thing I'm going to just add weight so it will look very visible. So I'm going to add like a font weight, FX font weight, and I'll make the font weight 800, right? So it looks like, so it will be visible. So I'm going to copy our button, and I'll paste 2 buttons right here for deleting and marking as completion, marking complete, right? So I'll copy again, and I'm going to paste it, and I'm going to put the second button right here, right? So our delete would be red, and our mark as complete would be green, but I'll have to increase this a little bit so it's, it has like a long text. So the first one would be delete, right? So I'm going to change the text to delete and enter. Then the color, I'm going to use not to no yeah we'll leave the text fill as white. So the background color, I'll go to my notes, and I'll copy our dark red color, and use it for the delete button. So I'm going to paste it here. Okay, Control A, and I'm going to paste it here. So our delete is good to go. Then the next one would be mark complete. Mark complete. I'm going to say mark complete. Okay, so so that's good. The next thing we're going to be doing is I'll change the color of the button to I'll use the dark green. So I'll go to my notepad and copy our dark green color as well. Okay, so I would go to the Control A, Control V, enter. So this is it. So basically, this is everything we need to do to make our interface look cool, right? So then I'll just save Control S, and I'll go back to our IDE to see if we can connect it. So the next thing we're going to do, if we go to our to-do.fxml, you see everything we have done is already automatically written here, right? Just a short line of code. Then I'll go to my main.java. We don't need this border pane. So I'll go to my notes, and I'll show you what we need. If I open my notes, I'm going to collect the parent node that we use for our calculator fxml. So I'm going to copy this code so we don't waste time, and I'm going to paste it here as well. So the more you're writing it yourself, you'll be understanding the code and what is used for. So we're going to put all these resources. So I'm going to hover around this one, and I'm going to import the first thing I'm going to see. Then for the parents as well, I'm going to import the first scene I'm going to see. So now it's going to be good to load, right? So if we load it now, it won't show properly. So I'll just delete the 400 and 400 right here. So it shows everything. And then we're going to run the program to see if it works. Oh, it won't work. It won't work. I mistakenly I didn't change this thing. Sorry, my bad. So I'm going to change this to do.fxml. I left the calculator.fxml. That's why it didn't work. So I'll run the program again. Okay. Then it takes time. I need to update my JavaFX version. Okay, so this is the interface we are going to be working with, my to-do list, and the interface we're going to be working with, right? You see, it's very easy to work to build applications using JavaFX, right? You don't need to like hard code the values. That's why I really love JavaFX. So the next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to add functionality to it, and that will be the end. So I will just close this application and I will go to my scene builder so we can add IDs to the important things that need IDs, right? So the next thing we're going to be doing is uh, the next thing we're going to be doing is add IDs to important things. So I'm going to go to my firstly my list view. I'm going to go to click on my list view. So I'm going to close these properties. You see layout and we see code. So you go to the code, expand the code. You see where it said FX ID. So for the FX ID, I'm going to call this one task using camel casing though. I'm going to call this one task. I'm going to call it task list view like this. So I'm going to click on enter and now it's added as my ID for this. So we can use it and get the output messages using the ID. So the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to go to enter a new task and I'm going to give it an ID of task input field, right? I'm going to call it task input field like this, right? So yeah, so I'll click and I'll save it. The next thing we're going to go to are the buttons. So going to the buttons, we're going to add let me see, we're going to add this button right here. So I'm going to call it, the ID would be add task btn. So add task button. So I'm going to click on it. The action would be add task button. You remember my naming conventions if I've gone through the other videos. So I'll do underscore clicked. So you can use any way, but I just like doing it like this. So I would remember that is okay, this is the action for it. So we give buttons. Buttons used to have like IDs and what will happen if you click on it. So on action and ID as well. So add task button underscore clicked. So we are going to use this one. So I'll go to my deletes and we're going to name it the same way, delete task btn for button, and the action would be delete task btn underscore clicked. Okay, so I'm going to click on it, and the next thing we're going to be doing is I would go to my mark complete and I'm going to give the ideas. I'm going to call it mark like this, mark complete btn for button, and I'm going to copy it and just paste it right away. Control A, Control C, and I'm going to paste it in our action and Control V, and I'm going to give underscore clicked. So buttons usually used to have ID check boxes and no, not check boxes. I mean, I say buttons have IDs and actions as well, and I can't remember, but buttons usually used to have actions and many other things that you need to use to fetch something if you click on it. Okay, so we have done all these things. So what we need to do is like just save it, right? I will say Control S and it's saved. And now we're going to go to our view. So this is a very fast way of writing it. So before we go to our view, for you to basically write all the like most of the things for us, I'll go to my notes and I'm going to copy my FX controller. So we can tell our FXML that it's going to be working with this particular controller, right? So I'll go back to my, or firstly, I'll go to my Eclipse workspace. Then I'll go to my to-do controller. Near my anchor pane, I'm just going to paste the controller we're going to be working with. So what it means is under applications, we have my controller. So what would be the name of the controller? I'll call it to-do controller. So this is the to-do controller. Then I'm going to save. Okay, now if I go back to my to-do list application, I'll save it again so we don't fall into any issues. Then I'll go to my view. Then you see where they say show sample controller skeleton. I'll click on it and you see like a very huge amount of code written down for you already. So we are good to go, right? So the next thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be copying this every single thing. So you just click on copy and you close it. It makes building applications very easy and fun. Then we'll go to our to-do controller and just Control A, Control V. So now we have everything we need. Okay, so that's it. So we have our buttons, we just initialized everything automatically, and then for our list view, you see this question mark, we're going to change it to like a string because it's like a list. So we're going to accept strings to the list, okay? So we're going to change it to strings. So firstly, we're going to work on our add task button. So if you click on the add task button, what would happen? So this one won't be an issue. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to use what they're calling uh, FX. We're going to use collections from FXML, mainly for FXML. We're not going to be using normal list because it usually have like faults and you have to like take lots of actions before loading the list, like if you're using a normal list. So we are going to use in this video, we're going to be using a observable list for this video, right? So I'm going to be using I'm saying an observable list for this video. So right under this place, I'm going to call like a private observe, just like a list, but we're going to call it observable list. Observable. I don't know if I'm spelling it well. Observable list like this. Yeah, then it's going to take in a string, right? So we are going to be using it to store all our to-do. It's like a list, but it's built for JavaFX and it works faster for JavaFX. So I'm going to say we are going to call it task list, right? Just simple naming convention. Task list is equal. So we're going to call our FX collections class. So we're going to say FX collection, just like our Java collections, but this one is FXML collection. I'm going to call it FX collections dot observe array list. So I'm going to enter this one and you can see automatically, I think Java just initially puts the collections for us, right? But we have to import this one. So if I hover around it, I would say, okay, just import for the quick fix. So the error is gone. So we have to import the collections, FX collections, and also observable list as well. So that's it. So the next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to start writing our code, right? So the first code we're going to be going to is, I'll just save it right away. The first code I'm going to be going to is the add task button. So what will happen if we add task, right? So the first thing I'm going to create a new task and collect the input of the users from the input field that we created an ID for. So I'm going to say string, I'm going to call it like string new task. So this one will be a new task, right? We're going to call it like a new task. Then we're going to collect the input of the user. So from the input field, the input field we have for putting ID, we're going to dot get text. So we get the text of the user, and yeah, let me just trim it a little bit. And it's not necessary to trim it, just for safety. I'll trim it in case the user just gives like unnecessary blank white spaces. So after getting the text from the user, I'll trim the white spaces around it in case the user added like extra spaces or all those unnecessary stuff, right? So the next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to check if the task is not empty. Okay, we're going to check if the task is not empty. So I would just go and use a normal if and else statement, right? So it's if the new task is empty, we have like what I mean about like for the new task is this task right here, this one. So the user's input. So if it's not empty, I mean to say not if it's empty. So if the user haven't like input anything, if okay, let me write it. It's very hard, difficult to explain. So if new task dot is empty, let's select this. So you see I'm using the negative operator. So this one is initial. Let me just remove it so I'll explain it better. So if the new task is empty, now we're not checking if it's empty, we're checking if it's not empty. So if the user have entered the value, right? So it's when we're going to proceed. Then the next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to check if our list is initially empty as well. So if I say if new, not new, what do we name our list? Task list, this one. If the task list, this one, so I'm going to copy it. And if our task list dot is empty, like this. So if our task list is empty, what we're going to do, we're going to set the items to task list. So if the task list is empty initially, we're going to connect it to our text field with this our list view. Sorry, I meant to say text field, list view string. So if our task list is empty, let's connect it. So you don't need to set all these things up, but I was like, for security and all the other things that make the application run smoothly. So we're going to set it. So I'm going to say task list view. So task list view is this our task list view. The view, like the view in SceneBuilder, this circle, this thing, right? This black thing. So we're going to set it up. So if it's empty, if our task list array is empty, this array right here, if it's empty, then we're going to set it. We're going to say dot set items. So I'm going to say items. So what we're going to put, we're going to set items task list. You can see our autocomplete already knows what we're going to do. So we're going to add our list to the list view. Okay, so we're going to like connect it together. So we're going to set. It's just like using like get text, set item. So it's not like a difficult thing to understand. So you just get, you set, and So we're going to add our task list to the view, to this list view that we created earlier that I showed you guys in SceneBuilder right now. Then the next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to use the add method to add it. So in our task list, since we have already connected by setting the items there, then we are going to add our task list. Sorry, our task list. I'm saying task list. Oh God. So task list dot add. So what we're going to add would be new tasks. Okay, autocomplete is trying today. It's great. So the next thing we're going to do, we're going to clear the task input field as well. So if the field is not empty, we run this thing, we set the view to be like a task list, like this our list. So then after we're going to add the task, this task that we collected from the user, we're going to add it to our list, and then we're going to clear the input field, right? Then we're going to clear the input field. So I'm going to say task input field dot clear. So I'm going to say clear like this. And yeah, so that's it for the add. I think that's it for the add button dot click. So if we add it, we'll just set it to our list, the view to our list, then we are going to add the task to our list, then clear the field for the user to like enter another thing. And okay, also we can just add like a request focus. So if we put the typing cursor back in the input field, like for convenience to the user, so you don't need to go back. You just initially put the cursor for you inside the text field, so you can type more to do stuff, right? So the next thing I'm going to do again, our task input field, I'm going to add field dot request focus. I don't know if it's still have it. Yeah, request focus, this one. So request focus. So we're going to like put back the cursor for the user to keep typing, right? So the next one we're going to be going to will be our delete task button. Okay, so for our delete task button, the first step, we're going to find which task is currently like selected, right? So you saw in the beginning of this tutorial, you select a task, then you delete it, right? Firstly, we're going to check the task that's selected, and we're going to get the position number of that selected task, like the index number, like working with a list, right? You're going to get the index number, and then we're going to remove the task. If there's no task, then we're going to like return something like maybe like -1. Okay, so the first thing we're going to be doing is we're going to get the index first. So I'm going to call it like selected index. So we're going to get the index number of the task, then I'm going to call it selected index. Yeah, then I'm going to say task list view, this one. Yeah, task list view. So the view, this one that we have, like that blackboard that we are seeing that we used to add the tasks to. So what we're going to do, we're going to do dot get get selected model. So you can see, so get selected model dot get selected index. Okay, autocomplete is really helpful. So the next thing, we're going to get selected model and get selected index, so we can get the index of the particular task, because you need to like know the ID index. If it's like for a website, it's just like ID, but for this one like index, you need to know the index of that particular task, right? So the next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to just use the simple if and else statement. So if I'll just say if our selected index is greater than or equals 0, then so if it's greater than or equals 0, it's just like a simple thing to do actually. So if it's greater than or equals 0, then we're going to go to our task list, like our list, the observable list we created for our FXML, right? So we're going to go to the task list, this list right here, for our observable list, this one. So we're going to go to it, and I'm going to do dot remove. So we're going to remove what? The selected index. So that's it for our delete task button, nothing else. So if we have a task, if the user clicks on the task, we get the index and we remove the index if we click on the delete task button, if it's clicked. So that's just basically it. So the next thing we're going to do is mark complete. So this one, it might take a little bit of time, but it's just like the delete as well, but this one will just like need to add some other cool stuff to it, right? So the first thing we're going to be doing is we're going to still use that same selected index, so we can know the index of the thing we need to the item we need to like mark as complete, right? The same thing as delete as well. So I'm going to paste it, selected index. So it's like a local variable, so they don't know each other yet. So the next thing is then we're going to do if selected index, same thing we did here in the first one. So if the selected index is greater than or equals 0, like this, then what are we going to do to it? So then we're going to like get the current task, the we're going to get the current task, so we can like set it again and like mark it as complete, right? So I would also say we're going to store it in a string. So I'm going to say string current task is equal. So from our task list, this task list, so you guys don't get confused. Sorry, this task list, this one, yeah. So we're going to copy, and I'm going to paste it. So our current task will be task list dot get. So we're going to get selected index, exactly. So I just love this compiler. It works good today, but Eclipse normally doesn't like give extra help, so but it's good. So then the thing, it gets the selected index that we found, and then we need to do another like if check, like if and else statement to check if the task is not like already marked as selected, so we can know the ones that, so we cannot, so the user cannot like play around, like I don't know how I'm going to explain it, but if you click on the task, it's marked as completed, you can't click on it again, or all those things, right? So I'm going to check if the task is starts with completed. So we're going to use something, in the video we had like something like completed. If you click on completed, it says completed. So I'm going to say if not, I'm going to use negative operator in this one because I like using negative operator. So if the current task dot starts with, oh, where's my compiler, starts, I'll do it again, dot starts with no, I don't need this one. So we're going to create this thing later on, right? I'm going to just say completed like this. So I'll not say completed like this. So if the current task starts with completed, if it doesn't start with completed, that means it's not completed, because we're going to like add completed in front of all our selected tasks that the user marks as complete, right? So I'm going to go and say if the current task does not start with completed, okay? So the next thing I'm going to do is we're going to create another variable to store the completed task. I'm going to say string, I'm going to call it completed task, just like as I said, and I'm going to say is equals, I'll just put it like completed, since we are checking if the current task does not start with completed, right? So now I'm going to call completed task, then I'm going to add it to like our current task, the current task that the user selects, right? This current task that we got from the selected index, I mean say. So I'm going to copy it and I'm going to paste it right here, right? So the next thing I'm going to do is, okay, so that's it. So our completed task, so we are going to firstly we're going to check if our completed task, like if it doesn't start with complete, that means like it's not yet complete, then we can now assign it like to complete if the user clicks on the button. So it sounds confusing, but if you think deeper in it, it's like it's an easy thing to understand. Just like small line of code and your to-do list application is true. And so the last thing we're going to be doing is, after setting the current task to complete, right? What we're going to do now is to then we're going to set our task list. Our task list, this one, for our list view, right? So we're going to set it to something else. So if I go down here, I'm going to say task list dot set. Okay, I like what it's showing me, so I'm going to click selected index and completed task. So I'm going to click enter. So that's just what we want. So we need the selected index, so we are going to set it. We need the index and the completed task as well. So the selected index by the user, we keep it and we set it like completed, and also the completed task as well. Okay, so if you are still saying what's like the completed task, this is the completed task that we created new for it, that starts with completed, right? Plus the current task of the user that we go from the selected index. So that's basically our to-do list for you. So there's nothing else that we have to like work on. This is just basically everything that we are writing. So it's just like easy and very easy to understand. But if you think you like the observable list is difficult, you can also work with normal list though, but you have some complications along the way. So observable list is cool. So let's run our application to see what we can do, right? So if I go, I would run it. Hold on, firstly. Let me see what happened. Okay, so that's it. So the first thing is I would just add watch this video to the end. I'm going to add task. So you can see the task, watch this video to the end right there, right? So where you see our add function is working, like we turned the this view to a list. That's what I was trying to explain to you guys. We turned this view to a list, so as we are appending it, we're just adding it to the list using the add function, right? We're just going to be adding anything we get from this user's input to a list. And you can see after adding it, it's now requesting focus, like it's now showing our cursor back, so we can add another thing to the list, right? So now I'm going to say like comment and subscribe like this. Then we're going to add the task, right? Okay, so I would, yeah, you can just play around with it, design it your way, add other extra stuff. You can add loading stage, you can add anything that comes to your mind, right? So if you click on this one, I can just say mark complete, so you can see completed. It shows the completed and watch this video to the end. So if I click on this one and say mark complete, you can see completed. So I can also click as well and I'll say delete, it removes. Then click on this one and I'll say delete, it removes. Okay, so basically that's everything we're going to be doing in this video. And so if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and see you in my next JavaFX tutorial. And I hope you enjoyed the video.